North Korea, 8 days in North Korea undercover. My cover was that I was a history professor with an alcohol problem, and I played that role fucking well. I have to say, I mean, there's some issues about getting there. Would I do it again? No. Would I walk away from the chance of trying to tell a story about what's going on inside North Korea? Not at all. Nothing actually happened to any of our team there or any of the people we went with. But this is an evil dictatorship, probably the worst on earth, and I feel proud to have reported on it and to have got some of the North Korean defectors a big platform. I think roughly 5 million people saw that. To be nervous would be to endanger my team, the others. To be nervous for a second would signal to the secret police that we had something to be nervous about. There's a moment when the food in North Korea I found disgusting, but they cooked clams in kerosene. The taste was absolutely revolting, and Mr. Zhu, the tour guide, who of course is either in the secret police or reports to the secret police, either or, had a mug full of the local firewater, and I knocked it back in one, and he looked at me and he said, "Professor of drinking," and that was it, and that was me, and they didn't work out what we were doing. So for me to be nervous would have been bad in terms of running the thing that we were doing. There was one moment when I was on my own where I sang "You're So Lonely," you know, the song from Team America, which I love. And I think I'm the only person who sung that out loud in Pyongyang. So that's kind of like the person I'm like. I'm not really a nervous person. I enjoyed the challenge of trying to get a mass audience, and 5 million people watched that panorama when it went out, understand how horrible this regime is, and I'm proud to have been a part of making that program. We cased a joint in 2012. And what happened, there was an American student who, something very dark happened, but that happened 5 years later, 2017 or 2018, and the secret police did something to him. He fought back, I don't know what, and he ended up basically a vegetable. So the problem is getting into North Korea if you're a journalist, because all of the agencies, the travel agencies, are somehow in bed with North Korea. We worked out through some clever detective work that there was one exception to this, and this is the North Korean Friendship Association, which is virtually, these are Westerners who are kind of almost as crazy as the Church of Scientology, and they didn't Google people because they thought everybody in their club was a believer. So we went through that route, so we weren't Googled. Had something happened, it would have been ghastly, but nothing happened. At that moment, Kim Jong-un he hadn't been in power very long, and he was still kind of playing nicely, but it's always a problem. The difficulty you've got is if you run away from these the challenges these regimes represent, you don't report on them. So, for example, I think the story of how awful Assad is in Syria is underreported because of the real difficulty of getting into Damascus and out again alive. And I really wanted to go during the war, and BBC wouldn't let me. So it's a constant problem. But yeah, I don't think that there is enough journalism from North Korea, rather than the opposite.